Welcome, welcome, welcome back, beautiful soul. I'm so happy you're here today. Today's conversation is for the woman who loves deeply but struggles to receive. The woman who says, I'm fine, I've got it, don't worry about me. The woman who quietly longs to feel deeply loved, deeply known, deeply seen, deeply connected, yet somehow still feels a little alone. The woman who wonders, why is it so easy for me to give of myself, but so difficult to receive love? Why do I feel uncomfortable when someone offers to help me? Why do compliments make me want to cringe and minimize myself? Why do I feel guilty when someone takes care of me? Why is receiving so much harder than giving? If you've ever asked yourself any of those questions, this conversation is for you. Welcome to She Receives. I'm Dr. Tabitha Taylor, your host, your guide, licensed professional counselor, sex therapist, and intimacy coach. And today we're talking about something I believe changes everything once we begin to understand it. Why receiving can be the missing ingredient in love and intimacy. One of the most important things I hope you take away from today's episode is this. Love and intimacy don't grow simply because we have more love to give. They deepen when we become able to receive the love that is right there already being offered. Let's pause with that just for a moment. Because many women have spent a lifetime learning how to love other people, and fewer of us were ever taught how to receive love ourselves. We've become experts at giving. Many of the women I work with are incredible givers. They're dependable, responsible, compassionate. They're the ones who people call on when someone needs help. They're the first to show up, the last to leave, the ones remembering birthdays, making appointments, planning holidays, managing schedules, offering encouragement, holding families together, supporting friends, taking care of aging parents, raising children, serving at church, working hard, holding space. Giving often becomes a part of who we are. And there's nothing wrong with generosity. Giving is beautiful and love is generous. But here's what I've noticed. Many women have developed a tremendous capacity for giving while quietly losing the ability to receive. Receiving help, affection, rest, appreciation, support, kindness, pleasure, love. And eventually, relationships can begin to feel one-sided. Not because love isn't present, because it only knows how to travel in one direction. Love was never meant to flow one way. Imagine standing beside a beautiful river. The water is constantly moving, fresh, alive, flowing. Now imagine placing a wall across that river. Water can no longer move freely. Eventually, everything begins to stagnate. Love is much the same. Healthy love flows. It gives, it receives, it offers, it accepts, it speaks, it listens, it comforts. It allows itself to be comforted. When love only moves outward, something begins to feel depleted. Not because you're loving too much, but because you've forgotten that you were created to receive too. Your nervous system has something to say about receiving. Here's why the nervous system becomes so important. Your nervous system isn't simply asking, do I want love? It's asking, is it safe to receive love? And those are two very different questions. You can desperately long for connection and still feel yourself pushing it away. Not intentionally, not consciously, but protectively. Because for many women, receiving has not always felt safe. Maybe receiving meant someone expected something in return. Maybe accepting help meant feeling weak. Maybe expressing a need was ignored, bypassed, or simply dismissed. Maybe your role in the family was to be the strong one. Maybe you learned that your value came from being useful. Maybe love always seemed connected to performance, some kind of way, to pleasing, to earning, to sacrificing. And if that's been your experience, your nervous system may have quietly learned it is safer to give than to receive. And if that's true, receiving can feel surprisingly vulnerable. Imagine someone you love walks over and gently hands you a warm cup of tea. They smile, they say, I made this just for you. You thank them, set the cup down, and immediately begin wiping the counter, loading the dishwasher, answering text messages, emails, folding laundry, checking on everything else. Before long, the tea is cold, honey. Not because you didn't want it, not because you weren't grateful, but because receiving never felt as familiar as doing. And I wonder how often we do something similar with love. Someone offers encouragement and we immediately change the subject. Someone compliments us and we dismiss it. We minimize it. Someone offers help and immediately we respond, no, I've got it. Someone asks, how are you doing? And we say, I'm fine. Love was offered, but it wasn't fully received. Receiving is an act of trust. Receiving asks us to become vulnerable, to pause long enough to let goodness in, to believe that care doesn't always have to be earned, that kindness doesn't always come with strings attached, that some support doesn't make us weak, that needing someone doesn't make us needy. Receiving says, I don't have to carry everything alone. And for many high-functioning women, that can feel like one of the hardest things they've ever practiced. Not because they're incapable, but because they've spent years proving that they don't need anyone. But love needs somewhere to land. Sometimes we wonder, why don't we feel more connected? Why compliments don't land? Why affection feels awkward? Why encouragement rolls right off our shoulders? Perhaps it isn't because love is missing. Perhaps love has simply had nowhere to land. When our nervous system has spent years protecting, guarding, bracing, performing, love may be knocking, but our body hasn't yet learned it's safe to open the door. The beautiful news is that can change. Not overnight, but one safe experience at a time. So what does receiving look like? Receiving doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes receiving looks like saying, yes, thank you. Allowing someone else to carry the groceries. Accepting a compliment without explaining it away. Receiving a hug, a gentle touch. Receiving affection. Taking a nap without apologizing. Saying, I could use some help and I can appreciate this affection. Allowing yourself to enjoy a beautiful sunset without feeling guilty for slowing down. Receiving a moment of laughter, peace, joy, God's love. Receiving your own compassion, receiving compassion instead of criticism from you. These small moments matter because every moment of safe receiving gently teaches your nervous system softness is safe. Before we move into today's practice, I'd like to leave you with a question. Not do people in my life love me, but where might love already be present that I'm having difficulty receiving? And just notice, without judgment, without trying to change anything, simply become curious. Because awareness is where healing can begin. Today's gentle practice is receiving with palms open. Let's take a slow breath together. Gently inhale. Exhale slowly. Allow your shoulders to soften. Allow your body to relax wherever it needs. If it feels comfortable, rest your hands in your lap with your palms facing upward. Notice how different that feels from making a fist. There's nothing you have to force, nothing you have to prove. Simply breathe. Now quietly say to yourself, I don't have to earn love. I don't have to earn support. I am learning to receive. Take one more slow breath. Notice what your body feels. Perhaps nothing changes. Perhaps something softens just a little. Either way, your nervous system is listening. Here's today's truth to remember. Love isn't only something you give. Love is something you learn to receive. And every time you safely receive, your capacity for connection grows, and from safety, she receives. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, one soft moment at a time. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe so you don't miss what's next. I'm Dr. Tabitha Taylor, and I'll meet you right here next time on She Receives.